So it looks like I got cut off there. Uh, so after I keep track of my placements and do all that stuff, I have an if statement saying if my turn flag is 0, so if it's X's turn, I draw X at the X position. That is a not that one. That is a function that moves to my needed position on the XY table, and then it draws out the X, and then it goes back to home. So then it switches the turn flag so that we don't draw the same letter again. Then I have a script that checks for the winner. What that does is it has a bunch of placements, like if it has a bunch of if statements saying that if X of S is, if these 3 spots are filled out, I win, and does that for all possible combinations of X, and does the same thing for O's. And then it also has at the very end, if my two matrices of X's and O's add up to a matrix of 1s, that means it's cats. And yeah. So then, after checking, it changes my win variable. So that n, I have this if statement. If my win equals 1, my win for winner is X's. If the winner is O's, I display cat. If the win is 2, the winner is O's, and if the win equals 3, I display cats. And so if I run this, so here we are drawing the table. Gonna take a little bit. Okay, so there we go. Drew the table. Then it's as those prompts. I'm in the top left box right now, and if I move my potentiometer over here, I'll go to middle left, bottom left. I'll want to be in the middle, and then if I push one of my buttons, I'm in the center now. And now I'm in the middle right. I want to be in the center. There we go. And then if I press my force sensitive resistor, it stops. It goes over there. And then it draws my X. So then if I do this again, middle right, it's going to draw my O. And then for this function, my draw O, that's not gonna let me open it. It basically does the code that you showed us in class on week 6 to draw a circle. So that's why it looks almost perfectly like a circle. So then, if I continue doing this, bottom right, bottom middle for the X, then I'll just choose this spot for my O. End up taking a little bit because this XY table doesn't like it when you draw a whole lot. It gets slower as it goes on. It's something that I've noticed. but I've used all this code and it works pretty well. Okay, so it's now done. And finally, if I go to the top middle for the X, draw out my X, and the winner is X's. Winner's X's. And it stops the program. And here's my draw 0 function. Okay, so finally, let's go to my Arduino. This is Lab 7.1, which is basically replicating the Lab 2 Task 1, I think it was, which is when we ramp up the motor and then ramp down the motor. So I start off by setting up my motor pin and my button pin. I don't actually use my button, but I could put a wait for button press loop here at the beginning of the void. But then I set up some float variables, which gives me the initial time for ramping up the motor, final time for ramping up motor, my final time for ramping down motor. So that's TF1 equals 5,000, that's going to be 5 seconds, and TF2 equals 3,000, that's going to be 3 seconds. And then my motor off voltage is 0, and my motor on voltage is 255. Then I have an unsigned long TREF. That's going to be my time reference for millis. Then I set up my pin modes for my motor and my button. Then in my loop, I set up my TREF equals millis. And then while millis is minus TREF is less than TF1, while it's less than 5,000, I write my motor and basically set up that voltage over time times time. So I ramp voltage up into the motor. Then I set up a new TREF equals millis, and while millis is minus TREF is less than 3,000, so 3 seconds, I write my motor and basically switch the variables so it's ramping down, so it's V0 minus VF instead of VF minus V0, over time times time, and then I ramp the voltage down. So once I upload this, we see my motor. It ramps up, and then it ramps down. And then it's just going to loop that again over and over and over again. So that is Lab 7. Thank you for watching.